you work with multiple agencies.
Correct.
So how many keywords do you tend to give an agency, and how do you decide which agency gets which?
Sure, that's quite an interesting question, and I'm glad you asked. So, when I engage with an agency for the first time, I tend not to handcuff agencies. And I'll just put a bit of context into that. So I'm not going to go to the agency and say, you can't do X, you can't do Y, you can't do Z. Any agency I engage with, I'm assuming they're ethical agencies. So let's park the black hat practice. So for me, it's about, I'll provide a test budget. And then from that test budget, I'll give them maybe a couple of keywords in bucket 2, a couple of keywords in bucket 3. I might give them other keywords that we may be struggling with. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, well, against this investment, work your magic. Come to wow me. Because if I can understand where they're moving the needle, what I'm then able to do is to best place agencies in certain areas as part of the strategy. So, for example, I try not to overlap agencies too much. I try to understand what are their strengths. So some agencies might be strong technically, really, really strong technically. Some agencies may be good at a certain type of link building. Again, it doesn't matter how good your internal team is or how much resource you think you might have. You can't do everything under the sun. Everyone's got their little niches that they do really good work on. And I think it's kind of my job to look for their strengths. Sometimes it's like I have X-ray vision and I can see where the light is. And then I try and understand there might be areas that they failed on. And there may be good reasons for that. And I try to understand those reasons so that, again, I can really focus on their strengths. So, again, that approach has been working really, really well for us. And I find by taking that approach, the in-house team learns so much from the agencies. We get insights from agency 1, technical insights agency 2, another insight agency 3 that we hadn't even considered. So I think sometimes in-house SEOs can take for granted the combined learning that you can get from your agencies, especially when you have them structured in the right way.
So what I love about what you're doing, and in-housers, this is what you need to be thinking about, is you're working with multiple agencies.
Yes.
And you recognize one agency is not going to be the best at everything.
Exactly.
And you figure out, I like this agency for this agency
Absolutely.
for this agency
Absolutely.
for this. And you give them a test budget
Absolutely.
to figure it out yourself.
Exactly. And you have to do that. I mean, most agencies are going to pitch, we can do everything under the sun, we can get you fantastic results, until you test. As far as I'm concerned, everyone's DNA is different. So, my DNA differs to yours, as does a website. So they might get fantastic results for client 1. But my DNA, my website DNA is very different to that DNA, so it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be replicating that success time and time again.
Yes.
Hence why I try to figure out, great if it works, but try and figure out those strengths, within the first couple of months.